Have you ever, truly, deeply considered the gaze? Not just the fleeting glance, the casual observation, the momentary recognition of a face in a crowd, but a gaze that truly lingered, a look that held your attention and perhaps even more profoundly, held you? Close your eyes for a moment, if you wish. Allow the outside world to gently recede, and let your memory drift back to a time, a place, perhaps a person. Is there, nestled within the quiet, luminous chambers of your mind, a memory of such a gaze? A look from another that stayed with you just long enough, not merely to identify you, but to awaken something? Something profound, something that had been sleeping, perhaps for years or even decades, deep within your very core. A dormant seed of self-awareness, a forgotten echo of your truest self, patiently awaiting that soft, silent call, that unspoken invitation to stir. We live in a world that constantly urges us to seek the grand, the dramatic, the monumental event. We chase after fireworks and declarations, yearning for the big moments that promise to transform us, to define our existence. We believe that true change must arrive with a flourish, a thunderous announcement. Yet, so often, the most potent awakenings, the most profound shifts in our inner landscape occur in the quietest spaces, in the subtle exchange, in the sacred pause, in the almost imperceptible moment when two souls, for a brief, timeless instant, truly see one another. Sometimes an entire universe, a universe of feeling, of recognition, of boundless potential, of unexpressed longing, ignites within a single gaze. A gaze that dared to linger. A gaze that dared to know. Not to judge, not to analyze, but simply to know, to acknowledge, to witness. What is it truly about such a gaze? It is not about judgment, for judgment creates distance. It is not about possession, for true seeing liberates. It is not even about desire in its most superficial or grasping sense. No, this gaze is an act of deep reverence. It is an acknowledgement of the intrinsic value, the inherent beauty, the sacred spark within another being. It is a silent proclamation, an ancient whisper from one soul to another. I see you. And in seeing you, truly deeply, I remember something essential about myself, something I had perhaps forgotten. Think of it. The eyes, those luminous windows to the soul. They do not merely reflect light, they transmit energy. They speak a language far older than words, more profound than any spoken tongue. A language of resonance, of recognition, of shared spirit. When two sets of eyes truly meet, and one or both allows itself to linger, to hold the space, to release the need to look away, there is an alchemy. A subtle yet powerful current begins to flow, an invisible tether connecting two inner worlds. Between a man and a woman, when that gaze truly connects, when it holds, when it penetrates beyond the superficial layers, flows not just passion, not just fleeting interest, but life itself. It is a vital current, a raw, elemental force that reminds us of our deepest nature. It reminds us that we are not isolated islands, adrift and alone, but intricate parts of a vast, interconnected tapestry of existence. This current, it whispers of creation, of possibility, of healing, of a sacred bond that transcends the physical, reaching into the spiritual. It is the very essence of human connection, revealed in its purest form. Perhaps you remember such a moment when your own inner landscape shifted, when a dormant seed of feeling, of possibility, of self-awareness, of a forgotten joy or a rekindled hope began to stir. It might have been a gaze from a lover, yes, in the flush of a new connection, or the quiet intimacy of a long-standing one. But it could also have been from a friend, a mentor, a child, even a stranger, who for one breathtaking instant simply saw you. Saw past the masks you wear, past the roles you play, past the everyday anxieties and expectations, and recognized the pure, undiluted essence of who you are, the divine spark within, the unvarnished truth. This is where true attraction resides. Not in the fleeting image, the perfect form, the superficial allure, but in the enduring recognition, in the profound acknowledgement of another's essence. Attraction is not sin. It's the universe remembering itself. It's the deep calling of one soul to another, acknowledging a shared origin, a shared trajectory, a shared longing for connection. It is the magnetic pull of life itself, seeking to coalesce, to create, to express its boundless energy through the dance of human relationships. It is the universe celebrating its own reflection. When this profound connection through the gaze occurs, something shifts in our own energy field. It's as if a long-closed door within us gently creaks open. A breath is taken, deeper than before. A tension, perhaps unknowingly held for years, begins to dissolve. The shoulders might drop, the heart might expand. This is why these moments are so vital. They are not merely romantic encounters or casual interactions, they are energetic recalibrations. They remind us of our own inherent aliveness, our own capacity for joy, for creation, for love. They touch something primal within us, something untamed and beautiful. For many of us, as the years accumulate, as life's demands press in, as responsibilities multiply, as the world becomes louder and more demanding, we can lose touch with this inner current. Our energy can become blocked. Not intentionally, perhaps, but through the accumulation of stress, of unexpressed emotions, of the mundane routines that dull our senses. We become disconnected from our deeper selves. And when energy is blocked, truly blocked, we don't just lose sex, we lose vitality. We lose that vibrant, creative spark that makes life truly worth living. The world seems to lose its color. Our days feel flat. But the memory of that gaze, that single moment of profound, unwavering connection, holds a key. It is a reminder that the current has never truly vanished. It has only been waiting for us to acknowledge its presence, waiting for us to remember its power, waiting for us to turn our attention inward and then outward with the same reverence. Imagine for a moment the sheer potential held within a simple act of seeing. When a woman breathes deeply, when she allows her breath to fill her belly, to expand her chest, to flow freely through her entire being, life breathes with her. And when she is truly seen, truly acknowledged in her essence, in her strength, in her vulnerability, in her unique radiance, that breath becomes even deeper, richer. It infuses her with a sense of worth, a sense of power that is both ancient and utterly new. Her energy flows freely, creatively, like a river finding its way to the sea. She becomes a conduit for life itself, a wellspring of inspiration. And a man doesn't lose power when he ages. He doesn't lose his potency, his wisdom, his capacity for profound impact. He loses it when he stops looking with wonder, when he stops seeing the world and the people within it with an open heart and an attentive spirit, when he allows himself to be truly present, to look with that lingering, knowing gaze, to truly perceive. He doesn't just see beauty, he creates it. He calls it forth from the depths. He becomes a channel for strength, for wisdom, for unwavering presence. His gaze becomes a fertile ground for connection. Desire, in this deeper context, is not the body calling, it is the soul singing. It is the yearning for connection, for wholeness, for the sacred dance of two energies intertwining. It is the universe's song, expressed through our human form, through our senses, through our longing for intimacy. And when we honor this desire, when we understand its true source as a divine impulse for life and connection, it ceases to be a source of anxiety or guilt and becomes instead a wellspring of inspiration, of strength, of creative force. It becomes a path to deeper self-understanding and profound empathy. This understanding, it is not about techniques. It is not about acquiring something external, a skill or a trick. It is about remembering something internal. It is about revealing the truth that has always resided within you. The truth that your capacity for connection, for passion, for vibrant aliveness is boundless. It is simply awaiting your recognition. The gaze that lingered, it was a mirror, reflecting back to you the beauty, the depth, the power, the unique essence that was already there, waiting to be seen. It was a catalyst, stirring the waters of your own being, inviting you to dive deeper into yourself, to rediscover the wellspring of your own energy, to remember the profound sacredness of your own existence. Take a moment now to simply feel that memory. Allow its warmth to spread through you, through every cell of your body, every corner of your mind. Let it remind you of the profound capacity you hold to both see and to be seen, to awaken and to be awakened, to connect and to be connected. Love, feel, breathe. The energy within you has never died. It's been waiting for you to awaken. We speak of a gaze that lingers, that burns, that sees into the very core of another. But how often do we truly allow ourselves to receive such a gaze? And how often do we offer it? Think back. When was the last time you felt truly seen, truly recognized, not just by the eyes of another, but by their very essence? And when did you last offer that same profound recognition? For many, perhaps, it feels like a memory from a distant shore. Why do we look away? Why do we avert our eyes not just from the intensity of another, but from the quiet knowing within ourselves? It is often a subtle shift, a gradual dimming of the light. We carry burdens, you see, scars from past wounds, echoes of unspoken shame, the quiet fear of being truly vulnerable. Perhaps a moment where our openness was met with indifference, or worse, with pain. And so, we learn to protect ourselves. We build walls, brick by invisible brick, until the very act of seeing or being seen feels like a threat. Sometimes it's not even a conscious decision. It's the relentless current of our daily lives. The endless rush, the constant doing, the noise that fills every quiet space. We are so busy living that we forget to simply be. And in that hurried existence, the delicate art of deep connection, of simply holding another's gaze, becomes a luxury we believe we cannot afford. We glance, we nod, we move on. We mistake efficiency for intimacy, speed for depth. But when we look away, we do more than just avoid a moment of connection. We turn from a vital current that flows through us, between us. This energy, this life force, it seeks expression. It yearns to be seen, to be felt, to be exchanged. And when it is denied, when it is held back by fear or shame or the sheer velocity of life, it doesn't simply disappear. It becomes stagnant. It becomes blocked. When energy is blocked, we don't lose sex, we lose vitality. We lose the vibrant hum that sustains us. We lose the creative spark that ignites our passions, the healing current that mends our spirits. We might find ourselves feeling tired, uninspired, disconnected, without truly understanding why. It's not just a fading of physical desire, it's a dimming of the light within, a quiet resignation to a less vivid existence. This is the deeper truth. We often extinguish the spark ourselves, not out of malice, but out of a deep-seated fear, a fear of its power, of its depth, of what it might ask of us. The power of that gaze, that true connection, can be overwhelming. It asks us to be open, to be raw, to surrender to something larger than ourselves. And sometimes we simply aren't ready for that kind of intensity. So we choose the path of least resistance. We choose to look away. And in doing so, we unwittingly turn away from the very source of our own aliveness. Perhaps it is time to ask ourselves, gently, in the quiet of our own hearts, what am I truly afraid of seeing? What am I afraid of letting be seen? That moment, when a gaze meets yours and something ignites, a recognition perhaps that dances just beneath the surface of the skin, a warmth that expands silently from the core of your being. We often label this simply as attraction, as a flicker of physical desire. And yes, it is that, but it is so much more. Look closer, feel deeper. What truly burns in that exchange? Is it merely the architecture of a body, the curve of a smile? Or is it something far more ancient? The pulse of life itself, alive and vibrant in another, calling to the pulse within you. It is the recognition of living energy, a current flowing, a silent symphony playing between two souls. This echo, this profound resonance, is not something external. It is the universe remembering itself. Desire, you see, is not a simple hunger. It is the language through which the soul speaks. It is the soul's deepest longing for wholeness, for connection, for the dance of creation. When we feel that pull, that undeniable stirring, it is not a call to superficiality. It is a profound movement towards fullness, a sacred impulse. It is the whisper of our own vitality, seeking to be known, to be shared, to be made manifest. Think of it as pure life force, an unadulterated creative impulse, the very movement of being seeking to express itself. This energy, this vibrant current, courses through all of life. It builds mountains, paints sunsets, brings forth new life. And within us, it seeks expression through intimacy, through connection, through the profound exchange that happens between two human beings. For too long, we have been taught to shrink from this power, to label desire as something base, something to be controlled, even suppressed, to fear its intensity. But I ask you, how can such a fundamental aspect of life be anything but sacred? Attraction is not sin. It's the universe remembering itself. A deep, resonant chord struck between two living beings, echoing the grand design of existence. Between a man and a woman, when they truly connect, when they allow this energy to flow freely and with reverence, what passes between them is not just passion. It is life itself, a healing current, a wellspring of creativity. It is the very essence of existence, shared and celebrated. It is the dance of masculine and feminine, not as opposites, but as complementary forces, weaving the fabric of reality. When this energy is allowed to move, to express itself authentically, we don't just find intimacy, we find our own vitality restored, our creative spirit awakened, our connection to the deeper currents of being renewed. It is a path to becoming more fully ourselves, more alive, more whole. When energy is blocked, we don't lose sex, we lose vitality. We lose the vibrancy that colors our world. We lose the song of our soul. Pause. Measured, deep breath. Love. Feel. Breathe. The energy within you has never died. It's been waiting for you to awaken. We speak of a gaze that lingers long enough to burn, an invisible current, profound and ancient, that flows between two souls, igniting something elemental within. But in the quiet solitude of our lives, as years unfold and seasons change, how does one invite that sacred flame back into a space that has perhaps grown cool, accustomed, or even quietly distant? It is not about finding the fire again out there in another, in some external spark or fleeting encounter. No. The truth, whispered softly, is that the fire was always within you. It is about remembering its warmth, its luminescence, its very source. It is about daring to be seen, not just by another's loving eyes, but by your own first. A profound permission. This journey, this gentle turning inward, it begins with the most fundamental and profound act we often take for granted, our breath. Close your eyes for a moment if you can, and allow the world to recede just for this breath. Feel the air, cool and fresh, enter your body. Do not just direct it to your lungs, but imagine it flowing deeper, a golden stream, into the very core of your being. Feel it expand, gently, exquisitely, through your chest, your belly, down to the deepest roots of your existence. And then release. Slowly, completely, with an exhale that carries away all tension, all holding. This is not just air. This is the very current of life itself. This is the primal rhythm, the pulse of being. When a woman breathes deeply, truly, from her belly, from her womb, life breathes with her. Her entire being becomes a vessel, open to receive the universe's abundance, open to give from her own boundless well. Her energy unfurls, like a blossom awakening to the sun. And when a man allows himself to simply be with that breath, without agenda, without striving, without the constant need to achieve or control, he begins to feel the quiet, potent hum of his own power returning. For a man doesn't lose power when he ages. His physical strength may shift, yes, but his true power, his essence, remains. He loses it when he stops looking with wonder, when he ceases to breathe in the mystery of life itself, when the world becomes mundane, predictable, rather than a canvas of endless fascination. We have, perhaps, learned to rush, to move from one moment to the next with an urgent, almost frantic pace, always seeking, always doing, always grasping for the next sensation, the next distraction. But the sacred energy, the very essence that allows a gaze to truly burn, to connect soul to soul, it resides in stillness, in the profound space between the breaths, in the gentle, deliberate slowing down of time itself. Can you allow yourself this gift? To slow down? To feel the delicate texture of the air on your skin, perhaps a cool breeze, or the gentle warmth of the sun? To hear the subtle symphony of your own internal landscape, the soft thrum of your heartbeat, the distant echo of a memory, the quiet unfolding of a thought. This is not a technique to master. This is an invitation to presence, to conscious presence, to bring your awareness fully and completely to every simple act, no matter how small or mundane it may seem. To the way your clothes feel against your skin, a gentle caress or a comforting embrace. To the warmth of a morning cup held in your hands, the steam rising, carrying the scent of comfort. To the subtle shifts in light as day turns to dusk, the way shadows lengthen and colors deepen, painting the world anew each evening. These are not trivialities. These are the precious threads from which the rich tapestry of your sensuality is woven. They are the keys to unlocking the felt experience of being alive. For too long, perhaps, we have compartmentalized desire, placed it in a separate, often hidden box labeled sexual, and then guarded it with shame or fear or judgment. But desire is not just the body calling for release, for physical union. It is the soul singing. It is the deep, inherent longing for connection, for aliveness, for the vibrant, pulsating hum of existence itself. It is the yearning to merge, not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually, with another and with life itself. When energy is blocked, when we ignore its subtle whispers, when we deny its sacred impulse, we don't just lose a dimension of sex. We lose vitality. We lose the creative spark that animates every aspect of our lives, dulling our colors, quieting our music. Think of it. The very energy that creates a new life, a new being, is the same potent force that creates a masterpiece of art, that solves a complex, intricate problem, that inspires profound compassion and selfless service. It is the same current flowing through different channels. When we disconnect from our sensual core, from the deep, fertile ground of our being, we disconnect from this inexhaustible wellspring of creation. We become less vibrant, less inspired, less capable of fully engaging with the world around us. How then do we return to this source? By allowing ourselves to be seen. Not just physically through the eyes of another, but energetically, spiritually. By daring to let our own inner light glow, unashamed, unhidden. It begins with the gaze you turn upon yourself. A gaze of radical acceptance, of profound curiosity, of gentle, open-hearted wonder. Can you look at your own hands, truly look, as if seeing them for the very first time, noticing the lines, the texture, the strength, the story they tell? Can you feel the intricate dance of life within your own body, without judgment, without expectation, without the need for it to be other than it is? This is the art of self-permission. Permission to feel deeply. Permission to be fully. Permission to radiate your authentic self with all its inherent beauty and complexity. When you stand in this space of conscious presence, when you allow your own energy to flow freely, uninhibited by old stories, by past hurts, by societal fears or rigid expectations, then the world begins to respond in kind. The people around you, the opportunities that arise, the very fabric of your reality shifts. Between a man and a woman flows not just passion, not just physical desire, but life itself, a swirling, creative, healing current. But that flow, that reciprocal dance, must first be alive and vibrant within each individual. When you are truly present, truly attuned to your own sensual current, when you are comfortable in your own skin and radiating your own unique essence, your very presence becomes an invitation to deep connection, an invitation for a gaze to linger, not in lust, not in superficial appraisal, but in profound, soul-deep recognition. Attraction is not sin. It is not something to be feared or suppressed. It's the universe remembering itself. It's one spark recognizing another, a divine echo resonating across the space between two beings. But for that recognition to occur, for that sacred dance to begin, we must first allow our own spark to shine brightly, without apology. We must reclaim our sovereign right to feel, to breathe, to be vibrant, to be fully, exquisitely alive in our own skin, in our own unique expression. It requires courage, a gentle yet profound courage, the courage to be vulnerable, to soften the edges we've hardened, the courage to let go of the shields we've built layer by layer over years of perceived hurt or misunderstanding, of protection and guardedness. The courage to simply be, to allow your heart to be open, your senses awake, your body a living, breathing, exquisitely sensitive instrument of this incredible, sacred energy. This is how intimacy returns. This is how desire becomes a source of inspiration, strength, and creativity again. This is the path back to wonder. Imagine it. You are not seeking something outside of you. You are simply allowing what is already there within you to expand, to radiate, to become visible to yourself, and then, effortlessly, to the world. This is the true meaning of burning. Not a destructive, consuming fire, but a warmth, a luminosity, an irresistible magnetic pull that comes from a soul fully inhabiting its own divine essence. A light that welcomes, that heals, that creates. Love, feel, breathe. The energy within you has never died. It's been waiting for you to awaken. That gaze. That moment when two worlds collided, leaving behind not a wound, but a slow, quiet burn. A mark. Perhaps, for so long, we've been taught to fear such imprints, to see them as vulnerabilities, as something that might break us. But what if that burn was, in truth, an echo of life awakening? A gentle reminder that something profound had stirred deep within? We carry within us, each of us, a reservoir of power so immense, so ancient, that we often spend our lives unconsciously afraid of it. This isn't a power of dominance or control, no. It's the raw, untamed current of existence itself. It's the energy that weaves galaxies and paints sunsets, the same force that compels a seed to break through soil and reach for the light. And when we speak of the sensual, the erotic, we are merely touching a facet of this grand universal current. It is not something separate from our spirit. It is the very spirit made manifest, alive in our flesh. Think of it. When energy is blocked, we don't lose sex. We lose vitality. We lose that vibrant hum that pulses through our days, that creative spark that illuminates our work, that deep sense of connection that nourishes our relationships. We become quieter, not peaceful, but muted. The world around us might seem to dim, not because it has lost its brilliance, but because our own inner light has been veiled. That lingering gaze, that profound connection, it didn't give you anything new. It merely reflected something that was already there, patiently waiting. It mirrored the magnificence of your own unacknowledged power. And when we cease to fear this inherent strength, when we stop shrinking from the vastness of our own capacity for feeling, for connection, for creation, that is when life truly begins to flow again. Consider the rhythm of breath. So often we breathe shallowly, holding back, as if afraid to take too much of life's air. But when a woman breathes deeply, life breathes with her. Her chest rises, her belly expands, and in that simple, profound act, she invites the entire universe into her being. She becomes a vessel, not just for air, but for life itself. And in that same way, when we breathe deeply into our own sensual energy, we invite the richness of existence to permeate every cell. Desire is not the body calling, it is the soul singing. It's the language through which the soul speaks its longing for union, for expression, for the profound dance of creation. It's not a whisper of weakness, but a roar of life seeking to embrace and be embraced. And attraction? Attraction is not sin. It's the universe remembering itself. It's two currents recognizing their shared origin, drawn together not by mere impulse, but by a deep, resonant truth. For a man, too, this awakening is vital. A man doesn't lose power when he ages. He loses it when he stops looking with wonder, when he ceases to see the sacred in the mundane, the divine in the human, the infinite in an intimate glance. His strength isn't in what he takes, but in what he can hold, what he can cherish, what he can protect with reverence. And between a man and a woman flows not just passion, but life itself. A current of creation, a bridge to deeper understanding, a mirror reflecting the divine within each other. Perhaps you've felt this quiet sadness, this longing for intimacy to return, for desire to become a source of inspiration, strength, and creativity again. It's a gentle ache, a whisper from the soul that knows there is more. This is not a journey to find something lost outside of you. It is a turning inward, a patient listening to the echo of awakened life that already resides within. The path to rekindling emotional closeness, to understanding your own energy, to healing the distance between body and soul, it begins with this simple act of acceptance. To acknowledge that the energy that stirred in that moment, the power that threatened to overwhelm, was never meant to be feared. It was meant to be honored. It was meant to be you, whole, radiant. Love, feel, breathe. The energy within you has never died. It's been waiting for you to awaken.